Pixel and Pixel XL. Google is saying goodbye to its Nexus series. So you remember in the past they have built together in cooperation with different manufacturers smartphones, and now it's just built by HTC, but you do not see any logo from HTC on the phones because Google is now doing everything itself, meaning the design, for example, this glass inlay here, and the rest is aluminum unibody, the specifications, and of course the software, as both are coming with a new Android 7.1 called Nougat. But we will do another video with the new features of Nougat. This is now going really Pixel and Pixel XL, the hardware. So it's made by Google now, how is it called? And that's why you have way more higher prices. We're coming to those at the end of this video. Like we have the first test results, battery runtime, processor benchmarking. But let's first start what are the specifications and especially what are the differences. Because in most cases, both are really identical. And you see that, for example, here on the backside, it's not only the same design. You have both that fingerprint sensor here on the backside, and that's really just a sensor for unlocking the phone. No starting apps or calling contacts or something. And you don't have any IP protection against dust and water or something. On both you have that USB Type-C connector down here where you plug in the cable in both sides. And by the way, this is not a stereo speaker, it just looks like, because one is just for the optics, it's blind, and the other one is a mono speaker. So not even like on the iPhones that this front speaker would be the second for stereo, so kind of stereo, but better than just one. Especially not at this price range. It's really surprising. And you also should know that you don't have any slot for micro SD card. So this is just one slot, nano SIM, no dual SIM as far as I know in no country of the world. And especially you cannot expand the memory, meaning you really should keep in mind if it's enough for you 32 GB, leaving a net memory of 22, or if you need the bigger one and more expensive one with 128. The same is also, of course, you have 4G on both, you have Wi-Fi SE, NFC, you don't have any IP protection against dust and water on both, and both have the same camera. On the front, it's 8 megapixels, video in Full HD, no flash. On the backside, it's 12.3 megapixels, video in 4K or Ultra HD, and this is 2 wide LED here on the side. Yeah, but what's really wondering me is that you don't have any optical image stabilizer here. It's just a plain regular digital image stabilizer. Google is telling, yeah, because we cannot update that optical image stabilizer. This is partly true in my opinion, because the optical is based on some software pieces and algorithms too. So there would be a chance. I don't know why they decided not to build in, especially at this price range. Once more coming at the end of this video. The lens itself, it's a Aperture f2.0, so it's okay, but there are better ones going up to 1.7. And remember, lower values in aperture mean that you have more light because less shadow from the lens. Yeah, the good news is that Google is telling us that the pixels below on the photo sensor have 1.55 micrometers. That would be large, at least relatively, so meaning we could have nevertheless good photo results, especially less grain in the picture, but of course this will come in the final review. Like always, as text on my website, mobiwatch.net, but give me some days. You can, by the way, click on the icon right there to get there. Yeah. Things in common. Once more, it's the same Snapdragon 821 processor, the newest one, 4 cores with 2.2 and 1.6 gigahertz, the Adreno 530 GPU, and both have 4 GB of RAM. Working memory. So with that one here, both have identical results in the benchmarks, more than 50 values I've gathered there. In the overall ranking, both are now 57% above the average, meaning both are very powerful, very strong, not number one, but I guess for 99% of you, really enough, especially if you have to, let's say, if you're a gamer and want maximum frames per second rate or something in your graphically advanced games or something. This is really enough for me. Can't believe that. I tried it out. Yeah, and so coming to the things that are not the same, and that's just two. First of all is obvious. You have a different display here. It's 4.98 inch, 127 millimeters, and the resolution is 1080 by 1920 pixels, coming to a density of 303 pixels per square millimeter or 442 ppi. That's 14% above the average, and that's quite okay. As you can see here, these texts really are very tiny, nevertheless crisp and sharp, can read them very well. Here on the XL you have a display diagonal of 5.46 inch, that's 139 millimeters, and a resolution of 1440 by 2560 pixels. So here the density is 448 pixels per square millimeter or 538 ppi. That's 69% above the average. So even way higher here. But now the question is, do you really need that? So I'm coming a little bit closer here so that you can see for yourself if this difference, you see it, of course, but if it's so big that you're really want to pay more for it. I always compare that with the difference between DVD and Blu-ray. For some, it's DVD absolutely okay. They say, why should I have more money? It's the same movie I'm watching. And others who like the crisp picture here, are, for them, it's okay to spend more money for that. And of course, you have that bigger overall size here. So we're talking about 166 grams, 143, and especially the width. Here it's 70 millimeters, so the thumb can just reach neatly the opposite edge here of the display, and that's something very different here with 5.5 inch and 76 millimeters width. That's quite different here. So this is a tap phone, a big one for two hands, and this one you can use if you have to at least neatly in with one hand. Both have the same dimensions of the thickness here, starting with 7.3 millimeters on the bottom, going up to 8.6 millimeters here on the top. So in most cases, it's on both 7.8 millimeters. Height, if we are in dimensions, it's 144 and 155 millimeters. So you have to decide if this one is okay for you. This is really a heavy, a big one, or if you need it a little bit more compact. By the way, both have an AMOLED display, so you have the same colors, you have the same diamond matrix, you have the same brightness and everything the same from the pictures. It's really the size and the pixel density only, plus different battery. Here on the Pixel, and both, of course, it's built in like we are used to it nowadays, unfortunately. This one is 2770 milliamps, and here we are at 3450 milliamps. So in the runtime test, the Pixel made it up to 594 minutes, 20% above the average. In the XL, 622 minutes, 26% above the average. So the difference between both of them, this is 5% running longer, but that's the same league. So no difference you can make your buying or lay your buying decision onto. The both are kind of the same. And that means 26% for normal, regular users, absolutely okay, will bring you through the day, maybe even through the second. But heavy users, yeah, well, if you're a medium heavy user, so this might bring you at the evening, but in case that you're really a heavy user, heavy user, display on all the time, using it all the time, then you will have to recharge, I guess. And that's, by the way, not possible here wirelessly because of that aluminum unibody, I guess, precisely. But would that be a nice feature? But this is not possible also. And that with the prices. So I've told you we have two different versions of both 32 and 128 gigabyte. So this is starting at 759 euro, including tax, Germany, Europe. And the big one is 869. Here we're starting at 899 and going up to 1009. So This is really the niveau of the iPhones, I have to say. Also the design and how it looks like and how it feels like, how worthy it feels. This is really iPhone niveau. But if the camera really can play with it, and especially the battery runtime is lower than on the iPhone. So if there are really a lot of people that buy for these prices, I am not quite so sure. But maybe Google is reducing the prices significantly in short terms here, but we have to see. So this is enough for a first impression here from the Google Pixel and Pixel XL. Everything else is coming, like I told you already, as text on my website mobiwatch.net. Give me some days for that. Thanks for watching, take care and bye.